Welcome, citizens, participants, and those that are concerned. We have had a closed session. We just have a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second on the floor, come out of closed session. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, we're out of closed session. We have had our prior resolution, we call the board. In closed session, we discussed, several things, but if I can call Commissioner Hoffman I'm sorry, we're sitting that out here. Jumping ahead. So, any agenda?
Mr. Chair, I would like to add under new business, a resolution honoring Cecil Taylor on his birthday coming up, where it's just passed.
Yes, Commissioner Hoffman, that would be F, am I correct?
Correct.
All
And I would like to add the county temporary body storage issue that I sent out as well.
Can that be a report? The report
right. That'll be a key, of course.
That'll be GB new business, because you'll have to, you might have to make a final decision.
New business,
Any other agenda adjustments?
Mr. Chair, I want to ask that we approve the agenda.
Motion on the floor to approve the agenda as presented with the additions. And a second. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none. The agenda is hereby approved. Item 4, consider agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I want to approve the consent agenda presented.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda as presented and as approved minutes, budget amendments 4 through 17, and tax refunds.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none. Consent agenda is hereby approved. Under delegations, have we had an opportunity to advise everyone if they intend to speak on comments to sign up? Not the delegations. Have any announced delegation?
No, sir.
None. Under item 5, B is the board citizens comments. The first we have is Timothy Williams Gates. Mr. Williams. Is Mr. Williams present? See you sign over.
It's called clerk sign for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Owens. I believe our clerk did advise us earlier that she had, that he commented with me here, she had in person. Since he's not here, we'll move on to number 2, Jesse Ken. Again. Gates. Ms. Ken, if you, once you get to the podium, can you give your name? Yes, sir.
All right, what I'm trying to bring to the table, I'm not sure if this is the right place to speak on it, but, I'm trying to get in touch with the Wildlife Game Commission about the here. And I sent emails to Brian and Greg, trying to petition getting it here, either rebuilt to them or a community project. I sent a few emails you could go to council, maybe just have a meeting with someone from the commission. Maybe try to discuss it on the floor to see if we can get some sort of community project started to do it.
Thanks, sir. County Commissioner, do you, have any conversations or emails or any,
You mean county manager, I just want to make sure, the city commissioner, you're looking at me. No one has contacted me about the parent rates.
could you have them email the county guests to the attention of the county manager? Start some dialogue through that. If you have any emails from them,
The only email that I had with Brian Craig was the gate was shut right before the hurricane this, and I was trying to acquire a fire shut, which they did shut it because of water right on the road for people traveling. And I went down there, checked it out after the storm, gave a follow-up email, sent it in, and then also an email trying to get the pier rebuilt. It was pretty much damaged completely in that hurricane. But I should work with that.
thanks, sir, for bringing that out. Just if you would, keep it forward. That's our kind of, we would appreciate that. She would appreciate that. Therefore, we'll have something substantial to
Thank you, sir.
Are there any others that would like to speak on public comments? If not, we will move along to administrative report, county manager report.
And then when my computer decided it's not going to work, now it's shut down. It's not going to restart. We turned it into hard copy. I've got a hard copy here, I just have to find it. This is for August 1st through September the 4th of 2020. I've been accepted into the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy. NACO offered scholarships to allow staff from local governments that had never had anyone attend a class attend. I was fortunate enough to be selected for the 12-week virtual program. The average amount of time spent on classwork is typically 4 hours a week. The academy began September 14th. Included in my report is information about the academy. Offices were closed on August the 4th due to a power outage from the hurricane. The OBC Healthcare Foundation COVID-19 grant for $20,000 was approved. Notice of available funds has been sent to the Gates County Index, the Chamber of Commerce, and posted on the county website as well as on Facebook. Applications will be accepted beginning September the 9th and are online or can be obtained by contacting me. There is no deadline. The funds are available until expended, and Chris Hill and Patrice Laster have been gracious enough to agree to review applications on the 21st. And to date, we only have one application that has been received. Others have been requested. Time was spent on conference calls during the period related to COVID-19 with Albemarle Regional Health and the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners for county managers, as well as North Carolina Pandemic Recovery Office. An updated plan was submitted to the North Carolina Pandemic Recovery Office. If the county decides to allocate funds differently, a new plan must be submitted before spending the funds. And you have a copy of that plan after my report. And if you will notice that the town of Gatesville was allocated funds, they did not have a need for all of the funds that they were allocated by the state. They noted that on an application they sent to me per the state guidelines, and they are requesting $6,000 for disinfecting. So the rest of the money has been rolled into our allocation with the understanding that if Gatesville should need some more for COVID related, then they can receive that because they were allocated over $160,000. On August 31st, I spoke with Kathy Davison, Vice President of Finance and Accounting at Roanoke Electric Cooperative, about funding available for counties to assist with broadband. She said Roanoke Electric would be willing to consider partnering with Gates County for funding. After she read the grant requirements, she posed the following questions, which I forwarded to commissioners per the commissioner's email. Is the county including other projects within their application other than broadband? Will the $900,000 minus 10% administration be the budget for the broadband project? Is there a priority area the broadband project should focus? Mr. Davis and I discussed targeting areas not covered by REC services or other grant funds. Commissioners responded to apply for the grant as Mrs. Davis and I discussed, with broadband being the only project. Commissioner of Insurance Mike Causey visited Gates County on August 31st to present Gates Volunteer Fire Department with a $5,000 grant funded by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Also in attendance were Gates County Volunteer Fire Chief Jeff Taylor, Mickey Lee, and Senator Bob Steinberg. And I understand there was a concern that you were not notified Steinberg was going to be in the county. No one knew he was going to be in the county. That morning, Billy Wynn received a phone call from the insurance department that said the commissioner of insurance would be in the county and that he needed to go meet him, said the volunteer fire department the county would be represented when the county fire department received funding. He was unable to attend, so he called me. I went, and Senator Steinberg happened to be there. No one knew that he was going to be in attendance. Even I could tell the commissioner of insurance was surprised as well. So do you have any questions?
Commissioners, any questions, comments?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
We all received about a week ago an email from Representative Howard Hunter in regards, from his legislative assistant, Gloria Williams, about a committee that he was co-chairing. We haven't seen, I haven't got anything from you, Natalie. I think it's important that we reach out and respond to Howard's email or to Gloria's email. I can't remember the last time Bob Steinberg or Howard Hunter have reached out to us asking our opinion on anything or our thoughts. But I think it's important that we, or the county manager and the sheriff, get together and come up with some reply to hear, so Gates County can be heard on this. I think it's due, the meeting is scheduled for September 28th, and he says, and he's the co-chair of the committee, and he would love to hear from my district, he said. So he wants to hear from us, and I think, people complain that Gates County never gets nothing. Howard Hunter's asking us for our thoughts and opinions. I think that we need to either task the county manager or meeting with the sheriff or formulate with some answer to let our voice be heard, or at least the sheriff's voice be heard.
Commissioner Hoffler, I just noticed your email was spelled incorrectly, so you did not receive that email
No, I didn't.
from Gloria Williams, so I just forwarded it to you because my email has come up, but it was sent to all commissioners, so if commissioners have comments, they also need to provide them as well.
And I believe that was to all elected officials. Am I
Yes, that is,
correct
well,
about that? Our
sheriffs
colleagues.
and commissioners and county managers, yes.
Thank you, Madam County Manager. Also, I'd like to thank Billy Wynn for bringing to the attention. I happened to be the one because Billy Wynn called me and applied for that $5,000 grant that was granted to the Gates Volunteer Fire Department. I did that at his request, and Mr. Wynn's in here. I didn't see him a moment ago. Thank you, Billy, for advising me to do that, and I did that, and fortunately, the Gates Fire Department got that grant. So thank you for that $5,000 to the fire department. And as I understand, many others can be. And is that a reoccurring grant? Do I understand it that way? It's not. Okay.
But Hobbsville and Gatesville and Ewer got it earlier in the year.
Right, from a slightly different pot of money.
But it was $5,000 each one of them got received.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
And
yes, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, one more thing. With the Kathy Davidson, we do have a public hearing next week.
Yes, next Thursday at 6:30 in this location.
Next, under 6 administrative reports, our tax report. Mr. Hill. Good day, sir.
Good day. You all have your collection report. Collections were robust for the month of August. We collected $682,750. Just as an example, from last year in August, we collected $167,800. So we collected about $515,000 more this August than last year. And we attribute that to the bills went out a little bit earlier than the happening went out. So that was good. We collected 9.42% versus 2.54% of the annual levy in the month of August. DMV funds, I know that's been kind of a discussion because of the COVID related delay from the state, from the DMV. But we had actually collected $18,000 more this August than we did last August from the DMV funds. So that's good. Zacchaeus, if you'll remember, they sold 3 of our properties at foreclosure at the courthouse in December. Due to the COVID-19 closure of the courthouse, they have just now been purchased. Gates County did buy one of the parcels, a 0.33 acre lot across from the VEPCO substation on 158 in Sunbury. The remaining 2 were individuals. One was off of Bozeman Lane for $9,250, and the other one was on Bush Lane for $4,256.40. And we've discussed refunds. Any other questions for me?
Any questions, commissioners? Congratulations on this great report. Obviously, citizens are coming forth, and it is it's important that we all know that Gates County does operate on the revenue from your taxes. Other than that, we're kind of slim, but that's where the revenue comes from, and that's what operates the county. Automobile, anything with the automobile collections from that you see differently?
No, that's just kind of one of those things.
I know we talked about it. That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, but people are renewing their tags and we're getting the benefit of it. So that's good.
Very well, commissioners. Nothing. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Good evening.
Departmental reports.
There are none.
No department.
They're all in your
Uh,
packet.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I do have a question that was posed to me. Actually, Kim. Oh, sorry, Kim, I couldn't see you.
Ms. Adler, good evening. How are you today?
Good evening.
Can you tell us and the public where we're at with sales tax revenue?
Yes.
I know everybody was worried across the state that there was going to be a loss of revenue, but it sounds like that it's looking a lot better. I think the email said something for last month. Can you?
Yes, we just received the last month for fiscal year 20, which would be June this week in September. Overall, for fiscal year 20, we budgeted $2,303,000, which includes the portion that goes into the school reserve fund. And we received 2.5, almost 2.5, a little over that, with a surplus of 238,000 from what we had budgeted. We also, for the Medicaid hold harmless, which we were concerned about that we would not receive or we would have to pay back, we had budgeted 376,000 and we actually received in total 438,000. So that was good that we didn't owe any money back.
So we received more than we thought.
Right, but I don't think we budgeted anything for fiscal year 21 yet because we had been advised that with the economy as it was, we may have to pay that money back.
And so we went into our fund balance last year to balance the budget.
A little bit, by
A
a
little
little bit,
bit.
yes.
And I don't remember the exact amount,
I think it was 55.
50-ish or so.
Uh-huh.
But so we actually didn't have to go into our fund balance then, since.
I'm not sure yet. We are finalizing the last items that we can post. We can post 3 months after June for prior year. So we are finalizing those this week, and then we'll be closing out the books and reconciling and getting ready for the auditors in October. So
But-
I'll have a better grasp of it then.
But I think what you ask is, we've not received any money for this fiscal year yet. So we don't know what the sales tax will be for the month of July.
But last year, we went into the fund balance to balance it. Last fiscal year.
Oh, when you
Last
asked
fiscal
for
year, we're
data
talking,
for
yeah, we're
last
talking,
year.
yeah, because she was finishing up last fiscal year for June, is what you were saying, the
Right.
last month. So
So
even
next
though,
month we'll get July's and we'll kind of see
so
how
the
that
budget ordinance
compared.
required, we voted to tap into the fund balance, but looks like that we came out pretty, and hopefully all those expectations will look good this year, and we'll be sitting pretty again.
Okay, and we're all scheduled to have our audit done on time this year.
Yes.
That is great news.
And this has been the second time the tax revenues have been up? Am I?
Yes, fiscal year 20, we received more than was budgeted. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I really can't remember.
Can you give us an idea of why we are experiencing that?
I can't. That would be a question for Chris.
No,
I-
for sales tax, that'd be a question for the state, because our sales tax also comes from the state.
Oh, you're talking about the sales tax, not the tax revenue. That just depends on where people are spending their money, and if they're spending it more in the county.
Spending more in Gates County?
And I think there's a formula. There's a formula too that they use.
Roger. That's kind of what I wanted everybody to hear, is that the folks are, unfortunately, this COVID-19 is striking all of us in a bad way. However, in some ways, it's making us stay home, and subsequently, those tax revenues are going up, or rather, the sales tax are going up due to that.
I think the state report that we received with this, I think the state was up 11% because more businesses were able to open back up. So it'll be interesting to see what July will bring.
Come back next month with more good news.
Yep.
No pressure.
More good news. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot. Be ready for it next month.
Under D, we're under.
Actually, I got one more question, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I may.
Please.
Is there a plan of action, Madam County Manager, for the county departments to reopen to the public? I had a citizen call and state that they went to a department and it was a sign on the door that they needed to call to make an appointment.
No, there's
Um,
not any plans right now, because some of the people are still able to call in for a lot of what they need. Now, if they knocked on the door, they would have been seen. Did they say if they did that?
No, I've got a call about that, and I got a call that somebody walked in to pay their water bill, and they were told that they had to get an envelope or there was
Yeah.
a sign and then take it back outside. But we've got a bulletproof glass,
Right. but
which is
we-
better than a plexiglass. So I think we need to have a plan of action. The school system's looking at a plan of action. I think it's time for the county government to look at a plan of action of,
We've had the Dropbox since March, so that has not changed. We have a department head meeting, so that was one of the things that's on the agenda. So once a decision is made after the department head meeting, we talk about how comfortable people are and if people can maintain social distancing, because there was a department that's been told if you meet with clients, you go in the conference room, because they can't meet with their customers or clients or citizens, whatever that department calls them, they can't meet with them in their office. So that's been the same rule we've been operating on since March. If you can't meet comfortably, they need to call.
but there'll be a possible plan of action tomorrow.
Right.
And are there any state standards there that?
No,
about-
every
about
county and
reopening?
every locality is doing something different. Some are still, just like us, you have to call to set an appointment. Some are still having the majority of their people telework. I've not really seen anyone on the listserv when the question's been asked that said they've opened up business as normal.
And kind of while we're on that subject, know all commissioners keep up with this, but just so the citizens can hear it, it kind of reminds us, just a month ago, we had 24 to 27 cases in Gates County. Today, we have 109. So in that length of time, it's increased that much, and it's going up every day. We get a new number every day, so it is not dissipated.
May I, we ask, Mr. Nguyen, how many active cases we have?
We have 18 active
The
cases. If I may, we are the third lowest in the state. Madison, Camden counties have fewer than we have, and we are at 111.
Mr. Nguyen, if I may, that number of
Jack, he needs to come up to the mic so Melissa can get him on record.
Mr. Wynn, would you want to come up to the podium? And you've been heard just to be seen.
Sometimes I'm better off not seeing.
I wasn't gonna say that.
It's my fault, Billy.
Yes, sir.
You were correct in the number. The 109 is now 111.
The 109 is now 111, but I do encourage you to understand that those are historical numbers. They're not active numbers.
Right.
There are only 18 currently active.
So these are the
Laboratory
111
confirmed.
are recoveries and,
Correct. That's correct. There have been unfortunately 3 fatalities. That's correct.
okay, good. Well, we called you up there just for that.
That's, I do want to reiterate that we are third in the state and the third lowest in the state behind Camden, which has 1 more than we have, and Madison, I'm sorry, has 1 less than we have. And Madison, I think, has 3 or 4 less than we have.
How do they rank with us population? Roughly.
Camden is very close to us.
Yeah, and I don't know. Madison is way on the Tennessee line, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
And if I recall too, there's 3 deaths associated in Gates County.
That's correct.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for the Honorable Mr. Wynn? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just ask a question. I see we had a couple of the fire departments reporting in for their half year, and we had one the previous meeting, but we still, I mean, July was the date, wasn't it? We still do not have them from all of them.
I understand that, and I believe Madam Clerk had let me know that, and I had passed that along and not gotten those figures back.
But I don't know if is Gates the only one?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know who that you.
It was, as I discovered through Madam Clerk. So, thank you, ma'am. Articles of interest? Any articles of interest?
The Albemarle Commission is trying to, we have to come up with legislative goals to present the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. They are interested in our chair is Tracy Johnson, and she is she's moving, she'll be eventually the president of the North Carolina Council of County Commissioners. But our legislative goals, remember that they lobby for us in Raleigh, and for us, that's a huge thing because it's very expensive having our lobbyists. But they would like for us to consider when we start making up our list of goals that we would like to see the General Assembly come up with or to do, that what our top priority should be broadband. That be a stronger voice in the General Assembly if that becomes the #1 issue for the counties in North Carolina. Just for your consideration when we make up our list.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for bringing that up. Is Mr. Sears still here from the Board of Elections?
No, they all left.
They did. Mr. Sears had presented something to us that 23 counties were in the coalition for broadband. And with the grant that our county managers has advised that we're looking at, that also would cover that. And I wanted to thank Mr. Sears for being a a part of that organization, because it is for the kids here in the county primarily that do not have internet connection or have the necessary equipment technology-wise to study.
And this is the time that we really need to push because of school children and people, we have a better chance of getting the state to throw in some money too.
Well said by a school teacher.
Mr. Chairman, also on the articles of interest, I believe it was mentioned earlier that Mr. Cecil Taylor's 100th birthday was coming up, and he was a Pearl Harbor participant. But his birthday is not Saturday, but on Saturday at 2:30, there is a vehicle parade that's drive-by that's going by his house. The family's going to have him sitting out in the yard. People are going to ride by, wave at him, and blow the horn. And Mr. Taylor's doing well for 100 years old. But if you see all that traffic around you, that's what it's about. If you want to be a part of it, you just follow the cars.
I think they're going to meet at Ewell Baptist.
At Ewell Baptist, yeah. But the traffic-wise, trying to meet at Ewell Baptist with the number of people I think is going to turn out will be way down the street.
Mhm.
So if you see that traffic, I think if you just fall in line, if somebody wanted to participate, they can. And they're gathering at 2:30 on Saturday.
Thank you for being observant and bringing that to our attention. Deviate just a tad from our agenda is Madam County Manager brought to my attention that first person on our public comment, Timothy Williams, arrived a little late, and I, with the permission of our commissioners, would certainly like to have some talk, but to put him, give him his 5 minutes at the podium. He missed it last time, and he was a little late today. So to hear from commissioners, we kind of go around the board. Commissioner Owens?
I would be in agreement with it.
Agree.
All agreed upon. Mr. Williams, if you come up to the podium, you have 5 minutes, sir. And if you'll give your name and address.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much for giving me that 5 minutes, but we had something to come up, and that's why we're running a little late. My name is Timothy Williams. I stay on 1137 Highway North and Gates. I stay on the border of this fox pen that's been built in our neighborhood. As you read in the article of the Rono Chawan News Herald, where the county officials openly stated and advised the state law was being strictly adherent to the regulation and siting of the 246 acres of the fox pen. This has become a great issue, as I have ever thought it would be. As previously discussed, Gates County has more fox pen located within the border than any other county in the region. So the question should be, can we regulate, but importantly, should we regulate these provisions? It's bugs the question, if a fox pen preserve are the same as a fox pen, if the state regulations need not to amend to make the distinction between the strenuous regulations, such as placing a provision such as been a rise here between a fox pen and a hunting preserve, I have made an application towards the North Carolina Wildlife Commission to review and amend the state statute. On August the 19th, this body presented me with a bona fide farm exempt statute stating it ties your hands regarding regulation of fox pen in that the bona fide farm activities are exempt from county land use regulations. In that this year, the General Assembly amended the definition, the agritourism, to include hunting. Please note that that's been a qualifying farmer with farming production is also referred in this statute as well, and could be called the no-brainer aspect. And production on the said property. However, my most pressing question to you this evening is if all the citing to qualify under this statute has been met when you presented on that day. If not, one could come to this conclusion, that the board was looking for a way around the duties of which you are in charge of as a local official elected to serve 10,000 plus people in Gates County. It has the appearance that this body proposed such a loophole and then ushered the individual through the loophole. We have consulted an attorney. Before that was printed in the paper, I gave him the statute and I said, I wanted you to see what you thought about it. And this is what he said. Hood Ellis, you can get a copy of it today. He said, it looked like this section of law you cited, no question, but that the session law was designed for a favor of farmers who want to add agriculturalism to their activity. But the amendment to this statute is clearly aimed at giving a bona fide farmer a tax break. If they are real farmers and have land in use or deferred tax basis, he stated, and he said you can call them as well, it doesn't say that farmers are exempt from these regulations.
5 minutes. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get back to our regular agenda here and the county calendar.
Just a reminder that you have a meeting next Thursday at 6:30.
And 24th.
Yes, because everything else on the calendar has already passed.
All right, roger that. Thank you, ma'am.
And that will be here at the courthouse, correct?
Correct.
Item 7, public hearings, we have none. Therefore, move on to item 8, old business, rules of procedure. Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, I spoke Melissa. If okay with the board, can we amend the agenda to move, and we can do this correct and make sure I state it right. I like that I make a motion that we move old business until after closed session. So it would be,
You're asking to move old business, item number 8, to after
to
closed session.
XII. Is that correct, Melissa? Am I wording that correctly?
So after 12.
You can move it anywhere on the agenda.
To move it to number 12. Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Okay. There's a motion from Commissioner Jones to move from old business, the rules of procedure by commissioners, to an item 12 under after closed session. All in favor, aye.
Has it
You
been
didn't,
seconded?
you didn't get a
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry, no second. Is there a second?
We can do it now, sir, for 45 minutes and let the citizens wait. That's up to y'all. I'm giving y'all the opportunity to let the citizens not have to
I'll
listen to
second
this.
motion. But for clarification, is it gonna come before 12?
Yes, sir. It'd be number 11. Yes, sir.
I second that motion.
Or does,
May I ask a question? If we think it's going to take a long period of time, is it wise to maybe just postpone it until next month?
No, my motion is to move it. The motion and the second on the floor is to move it to 11 to talk about it tonight.
whether we, and Commissioner Hobbs, whether we finish it or not. But I know Madam Clerk's done a lot of work on this and presented to us. We weren't able to touch it last time. So, so it is of importance. All right, there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign?
Aye.
One opposed? The majority is. We will move it to item number 11, after closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and
Yes,
board
sir.
members.
All right. Under new business, which would be number 9, Jim's request.
Yes, and that will, you have before you, some of you might have it in your notebook, some of you might have it on the table. There's an email, or you probably, and you received it through your email regarding gyms and their requests. And if you have any questions, I believe Miss Vanessa Truman is here on behalf of gyms.
Yes, ma'am. If you state your name and your address, please.
Yes, Vanessa Truman, 342 Turner Road, York.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're the only food bank in Gates County, and with the COVID going on and we're feeding so many people, we have run out of space in the old doctor's office at the Medical Center Road, and we were asking permission to use the rest of that building. We have a grant to get $5,000 worth of refrigeration freezer units. We cannot put that in the old part because the space is too limited. We're getting more food. We're serving about 4 times the amount of people that we were serving. And we're expected to receive food just as much as we're getting now, at least through the end of the year. And we're basically asking permission, y'all's permission, because it's a county building, to use the rest of it.
Do a great job. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Do we have, County Manager, do we have a memorandum of understanding with gyms?
No.
I fully support what they are asking because of the need, but I think that we need to formalize that with a memorandum of understanding so that if it's recognized and legitimate.
Yeah, we would
as far as-
appreciate that.
Okay.
I don't think one existed. Jim's has been around, you know, at the beginning.
1986. I was not with it then, but it started in 86.
And we've never been able to find one. We've looked.
You have, good. Okay, because
Because it was at the EIC building to begin with.
Yes, we've been at the current building probably 5 or 6 years.
Would it be beneficial to have a memorandum of understanding so that we have an agreement between gyms and the county?
Okay.
Absolutely. Well,
That way we can spell it out and they know what.
And if you remember, just maybe 3 months ago, we took a tour
Mhm.
of the facility, and we took a tour of the facility with some thoughts and ideas in mind. In other words, if let's say a dentist wanted to come back to the county, that would be a significant thing, having the memorandum of understanding, so that your group knows that, you know, there has to be these contingencies.
Right.
Yeah, so that would serve that purpose. And I echo Chairman's comments that we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
very
The, sorry.
What I was gonna say is, Is there a motion?
Well, I thank you for what you do, Vanessa.
Mhm.
The building's sitting there. So it makes sense to let them use it, but what Commissioner Riddick says, there needs to be an understanding. Now, and I'm okay with letting them use it like they need now because grant money's good. I don't like turning away free money. I'm sure Vanessa and
No.
some other folks that help her don't want to turn away free money either. So I am all on board with letting them use it. But you don't want an MOU before we do that.
No, I don't. I think, we can, support them as is now because of the need and the history that you, have in the county. But going forward, we can craft a memorandum of understanding so that it's clear.
Okay, do you want us to take care of that and submit it to y'all?
Well,
Or do you want to do that?
And, to piggyback on, Dr. Riddick here, my opinion is that we ask our county manager to draft an MOU and you will take a look at it, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
We'll probably, seek some advice from our county attorney, Mr. Godwin, as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And this, if you notice, we've had to use personal freezers to store food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is not
Many times.
ideal. And, so it really is necessary to get the refrigeration so we can continue on. And, a building that is used is better than a building that's just shut up. So that's beneficial to the county that is
It is.
being used, and it's a wonderful, service.
Thank you. We're having about 35 to 40 volunteers 2 days a month to get ready for these food giveaways. The next one is October 10th, and we invite y'all to come out there and see what we do if you want to. Be from 8 to 10 in the morning.
And you come out there, we'll put you to work.
Definitely.
Chairman, are we looking for a motion?
Yes. That we're gonna develop an MOU. Yes, sir.
Chairman, I make a motion that we allow gyms to use more area as needed in the facility that they're in. And also in my motion, I'd like for us to direct county manager to begin work on a memorandum of understanding between County of Gates and gyms.
And I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second for the development of an MOU and also continuing use of the medical center facility for gyms.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, and I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it. Thank you, ma'am.
Can we ask, Vanessa, I think you have some people on your board here.
Yes.
Will you introduce those to us?
Okay, we have Gwen Lassiter.
If you stand up.
Most of these are on our board of administration. Okay. Mary Lacy, Virginia Ure, Mary, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. Eason. And we have some more volunteers. I know Steve Carroll is back there. I think that's all we have here now. But we're using at least 35 people 2 days a month right now.
Thank you for the good work you do and all that time. That's volunteer time.
Yeah.
So it's, we appreciate that.
All right. Hopefully, after the first of the year, we'll go back to more of a schedule like we used to have. We're hoping this doesn't last forever.
Or,
Thank you.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
or our Rural clubs and other civic organizations supporting you.
Yes, we've had some Ruleton clubs, we've had a lot of churches, we've had some youth groups,
The
lot
Lions
of-
Club.
yeah, the Lions Club. It's different people each time. Sometimes we have more than others, but, and some people don't make it every time, but we've got a good base of volunteers. And it takes every one of them. It's about, we move about 1,200 pounds every time we do a giveaway.
Thank you,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you.
Thank y'all for what y'all do.
B, our voluntary ag district advisory board appointments.
You've not received any applications.
And, everyone had an opportunity to examine.
We don't have any of those.
Pardon?
Nobody has applied.
No, you had no applications.
Uh,
The applications are for the ABC board.
Well, I have,
It says
board.
County manager, I see it says terms expiring. What's the
Expiring.
actual expiration date? Is that like end of the year? Or-
I'm not sure. I know Ms. Lawrence has the book, but she didn't bring it with her, but I believe they've already expired or they're expiring. One has expired, the other two are in September.
So
Okay,
we have, currently on the board, terms expiring, Chuck Brothers, Todd Lewis, Robbie Unford.
Correct.
are we, I don't expect us to know all the rules of their bylaws, but can they serve a second term consecutively?
I believe so, and this committee operates under Soil and Water, and they have been notified that no one has applied.
All right,
So we can
any
bring that back up.
recommendation For any action we should take?
There
on
is
it?
no action you can take next month. If someone submits an application, it'll be brought before you.
ABC.
So there's no indication they want to stay on the board or not.
But no one's heard from them.
So, okay. All right.
I can tell you, they were all emailed copy of the application.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. ABC Board appointments. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the ABC Board and appointments?
How many people serve on that board? Uh-huh, okay. I didn't know if there was a rotation or not.
Any discussion as pertaining to the applications received? And if, did I hear 3 on the board currently serving? And if I'm looking here, I see 4 applications. Any discussion?
There was 4 applications submitted in your packet, and then another application that came in. It should be later on.
I think I saw that.
Right, it came in after the deadline.
After the deadline,
Yes.
was it still accepted? Madam
We
Clerk?
accept all of them.
Okay.
but we
Even
make
after
you-
the deadline?
Right, we just make you aware it was after the deadline.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, do we want to do one at a time, or what's the pleasure of the board, one at a time, or how about, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that, that we reappoint Perry Yore back to the ABC board, or I retract that motion, Mr. Chair, seeing that my good friend Commissioner Owens is going to bring back last month's meeting where I called him out for procedural.
I promise you I
Issues.
was not.
I saw that look. It's okay. The camera got it too.
I was waiting.
Is
So-
that that's a motion?
So I'm going to make a motion that we open the floor for nominations. Is that correct, sir?
And I'll second. You're
Second.
correct, sir.
So now the floor is, there is a motion to open the floor for nominations for the ABC board,
I second it.
and there's a second. All in favor to open nominations?
Uh,
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it.
Now, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that Perry Yore be reappointed to the ABC board.
That's a motion.
Yes, sir, that is a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Are we going to do them all? We're not going to do them all.
Let's do them. I think we should do them individually.
Okay.
I'll second that motion, that nomination.
The term,
And if there's
Yeah, I
the
don't
note
see it.
on the back from Mr. Goodman.
I see that,
I will amend my motion, Mr. Chair. I will restate my motion if that's okay, Melissa, that Perry Yore from the Hall Township be reappointed to the ABC board for a term of 1 year. That's my new motion.
I'll second that amended motion.
and that motion is on the floor and it is seconded. All in favor of that 1-year term for Perry York?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it.
Mr. Chair, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. You can call him madam. Sorry, your school teacher.
I'd like to nominate Ronald Taylor from the Ops School District for a term of 1 year to the ABC board.
I'll second the motion.
If
Um,
I may,
for-
Mr. Goodman would like one 1-year term, one 2-year term, and one 3-year term, so they are staggered.
Our notes state, yeah, that's what the clerk was talking about on page 2.
Okay, I'll just change my motion to 2 years.
And I'll second that amended motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Commissioner Hostler for the 2-year appointment for Mr. Taylor. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it. Any other nominations?
Well, it looks like Mr. Goodman is recommending that George Kittrell Jr. be reappointed to a 3-year term. So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we reappoint George Kittrell Jr. to a 3-year term to the ABC Board.
I see that. There's a motion on the floor. There's a second.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second for the nomination of George P. Kittrell Jr. for a term of 3 years, ABC Board. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it.
We'll get this right one month, Jack.
I wasn't gonna say that.
I enjoy too much watching the eyes go across.
I was giving him the look.
I noticed. OVC grant resolution.
Yes, we've already accepted the grant. They just needed a formal resolution stating who could sign contracts and amendments, and this is going off of our budget ordinance. So it is asking the Board of Commissioners to authorize and direct myself and Kim Outland to sign the contracts, amendments, and verify all the claims and all the financial information that we have to submit to OVC explaining how we have spent those funds.
And we want to thank you for applying for that grant. As we had read about that, so that is another good move for Gates County. So thank you, Madison County Manager. Any comments, concerns?
We need a motion to accept the resolution.
Yes, to pass the
To
resolution.
adopt it.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution for the authorization of signed contracts for the OVC grant resolution of $20,000 that the county has received for COVID-19 relief.
Is there, and there's a second, Dr. Riddick. There's a motion on the floor to, for that resolution for the OVC grant, $20,000. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it.
Could the county manager just tell the people here, and he'll be watching, what is $2,000 grant to
Twenty.
businesses?
Has to be it's a small business, and you have to be located and operate in Gates County. You have to have already spent the funds. This is a reimbursement grant, and it can be for PPE that you purchase, signage that you purchase, or it can be also used to pay for light bills or to reimburse you for light bills that you had to pay during March or April when your business was closed, or to pay your rent or mortgage. And the criteria can be found on our Gates County website, or by contacting me or Melissa. We can get you the application, because you do have to provide proof that you paid your taxes as well.
And a couple other things I've
Right.
seen, that you do have to have a brick and mortar building. It
Right.
can't be a home business, and one of the owners has to live in Gates County.
Right.
There's
Correct.
we
Gates
just
County
need to
Rec.
get the word out so people will.
It was in the index last week, I
Right.
know, and I think it was on the county web page
Right.
and Facebook page.
Right, and it's on the front page of the index. And I know that it is now on the chamber website as well.
And that's 20,000 max. That's
It's
max.
2,000, up to $2,000 per small business. And the county received $20,000 to allocate to those businesses.
So 10 businesses can get it.
Roger that. All right, under 9E, Confederate Monument Committee update.
The county, those of you who've been looking at the Gates County Index, we are accepting an application for the Monument Committee. The deadline is tomorrow, September 17th at 5 o'clock. You need to send your application into Mrs. Lawrence, our clerk. And the objective is to determine, to study the monument and determine the courses of actions to be taken, if any.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopple. Any comments, commissioners? All right, hearing none, moving to F.
Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, as those of you who, we've mentioned it, Commissioner Owens talked about the drive-by, and this is a good drive-by.
Yeah, it's a good drive.
Good drive-by. But a resolution that we have typically sent out to, and this is kind of just a rough draft that, but the daughters, Vicky and Arlene sent to us. But whereas Cecil Taylor was born on September 18th, 1920, whereas Mr. Taylor will be celebrating his 100th birthday, September 18th, 2020, whereas Mr. Taylor has lived a life of service to his country and community, and Mr. Taylor served in the United States Army. I think he was at Pearl Harbor. We got to get those dates. Whereas Mr. Taylor has served his community by being involved in the Gates Masonic Lodge, Shriners, Gatesville Religion Club, and the DAV. He was instrumental in organizing and starting the Hall Religion Club and speaking to children of all ages about the history he helped create. And whereas over the course of 100 years, he has never lost his love for making others smile and laugh. And whereas the Gates County Board of Commissioners are thrilled to know Mr. Taylor will be celebrating his 100th birthday and honored to join his family and friends in congratulating him on his special day. I think I got it all in there.
And for, I commented that he was stationed in Pearl Harbor. He was there the day of the bombing.
So,
Very well.
but Mrs. Lawrence will get this typed up and sealed. And I guess if she can do it, it would be nice if they could present it. Well, I mean, not to give it to him.
Before Saturday, maybe.
Or for Saturday, or do you want him to come here at our next meeting, or to somebody go Saturday and give it to him?
I don't know if he would come
Yeah,
because of COVID. He may
COVID,
not come
yeah.
to the meeting.
Yes. It'd be nice if he could get it.
I see his daughter 5 days a week.
So if we
If
get it to you, you can get it.
I can get it to
You
Vicky,
get it
yeah.
to Vicky then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You're gonna make that in a motion that we?
I
or-
would make a motion that we get the resolution completed so it can be delivered to him prior to Saturday.
Thank
Or
you,
by-
Commissioner Hopple. There's a motion on the floor commemorating Mr. Taylor, not only in his reaching the ripe age that he has, but also for his service to the country and to our county. So is there a second?
I will second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign, hearing none. So be it. Resolution. Thank you. G would be back to our director. I don't know if he's coming up, Mr. Wynn, as pertaining to some issues that have come up in the county for years, probably. Thank you, Mr. Wynn.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. This is a touchy subject that I'm going to try to do it with as much grace as I can. Part of our living is dying, and Gates County has a responsibility to manage decedents that fall deceased in Gates County. Historically, we have had a contract, and we still have a current contract with Roanoke Chowan Hospital and Ahoskie. We are statutorily compliant with having that. Each county has to have a designated morgue facility. There has been some problems in the last year or two with that particular situation, mainly with the contract that EMS has with the county to provide 2 ambulances 24 hours a day. They were taking an ambulance out of service to go to the morgue with a decedent, and it was causing it was causing them to be non-compliant with the contract. There is through the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office, there is a payment process for that. That payment process was not adequate to cover the cost of bringing somebody in, to cover the time that, so it was a financial decision was made. The effort was made to have other contractors to move the decedents, and that fell unsuccessful. There was one county agency that was, not agency, but a business in the county that was willing to take that on, but they were unsuccessful in the application process because there's a lot of insurance that's required, so other things. So there has been a meeting with the sheriff, EMS, emergency management, the medical examiner for Gates County, and the state medical examiner's office. And a temporary solution has been resolved that the county property at the Emergency Operations Center would be a temporary holding location for decedents until final disposition could be determined. And that final disposition could be an evaluation by the medical examiner, or it could be picked up by a funeral home. But there have been a couple times where the Sheriff's Department and EMS has been on the scene for many hours at a decedent's home, and that's just not convenient for our citizens, and it's not convenient for the emergency responders as well. So a stopgap solution has been created. There is a longer-term solution that we are proposing that would be of little to no cost to the county. There is a refrigerated unit at the EOC currently. It does require a little bit of maintenance to have that. And there is a portable refrigerated unit that is serviceable currently. So we just kind of wanted you guys to know where we were. There has been a little bit of muck and mire to try to get to this point. I do have a very well thought out and approved by all of the attendants, kind of a matrix of what is the disposition of a decedent in the county. There is a general statute, 130A 383, that specifically speaks to what is a medical examiner's case, and that has increased substantially over the last 12 months because the new state medical examiner, refuses to allow a Virginia doctor to sign a death certificate. So that's not written in the statute. That's her interpretation of the statute. Therefore, if you think about everybody that goes to a doctor in Gates County, if they were to succumb to their illness, the doctor would normally sign the death certificate. If they don't have a North Carolina physician's license, they're not able to sign the death certificate. Therefore, it turns it into a medical examiner's case. So we're unique, and we're not solely unique because there are other border counties as well, but we are sort of unique because we're a border county that so many of our residents go north of the border to receive medical care. So no action is needed necessarily. I just kind of wanted to touch base and let you know where we were. We have approved this plan through the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office, and would like the ability to proceed with our plan.
So my first question is there a dollar? Is there a check that's going to have to be written?
No, there is not. Well, there is minor maintenance to get both of those locations, but it's going to be minuscule. We're not building anything. At the preliminary meeting with the medical examiner's office, she said, I forgot what county it was, they built a a morgue in their county. It wasn't but $200,000. So we quickly told her that that was not a budgetary item and we were not going to be doing that. But we have come up with a solution that would satisfy everybody and it would be mutually beneficial for the families and for the emergency response agencies that respond.
Would this be between the county and EMS since they're a private? We just talked about MOUs a while ago.
So the EMS has nothing to do. So this is the way a decedent call would happen. A 911 call would come in that a person was injured or ill and potentially not breathing. So you do CPR, you don't do CPR. Once law enforcement gets there, they see if there's any foul play. The only person in the county that can pronounce a person dead would be EMS. So that's where statutorily their requirement ends. So in some counties, as soon as the pronunciation is done, they're cleared and they leave the scene. It's not necessarily convenient, or I won't say it's not necessarily convenient for the family to have that decedent left at the home. So there's been an emergency service responsible party that stays. Usually it's the sheriff's department. Sometimes it's EMS and the sheriff's department. The sheriff has indicated that he was unwilling to leave a decedent at a home until final disposition had been created. So EMS really has no obligation there up to that point. They are willing to regenerate the transport licensure because they already have the insurance, and it's not taking a unit out of the county. It's actually on the way back to their station, so they could contract to move the bodies back to that central location.
So for the nominal cost, we would keep an EMS truck in the county and a deputy on duty quicker.
It would not be a cost to Gates County at all.
You said some nominal cost, I think.
Yeah, right. So a nominal cost to get the maintenance, and there would be an electrical, the electricity charge.
So basically, this addressing this issue, if you think about the time that would have been tying up our law enforcement and EMS, it's saving us money.
Yes, absolutely it is, and it's giving the citizens a better response plan because it's not tying people up for long periods of time. As soon as the investigation is over, the body can be removed. And what happens is, even if there is a signatory physician, they have to call the funeral homes, and sometimes they're coming 2 and 3 hours. Their delay time is 2 and 3 hours. Most recently, when we initiated this kind of without any permission, we had a roadside fatality and an accident, and we couldn't leave the decedent on the side of the road for hours at a time. So we made an executive decision and had a temporary holding location at the EOC.
And it's really, we're having a temporary morgue or a small.
That is correct. That's right. However, there does need to be an MOU or a protocol established that says it is not a long-term storage situation.
It's temporary.
It is temporary. Now, I will say that there are some emergency management considerations, and that has come to light with COVID because this was not necessarily kept a secret, but it was not dramatically publicized. But we were prepared. We were told to prepare for 10,000 decedents in North Carolina at the beginning of COVID. Thank God we have not received, that has not happened. But that's the reason we have the portable morgue, is we have a regional facility that we can initiate a regional portable morgue.
And I'm sorry, go ahead, Dr. Rick.
Chairman Freeman, I strongly suggest that as we work toward that, I'm in agreement with Mr. Nguyen, but again, on MOU, we have to get into the practice of having agreements between services and the county, and not leave it to, Mr. Nguyen was here on September or whatever, this is what we agreed to. So as I suggest that as he works toward fashion or crafting the what it looks like, and whatever cost is no cost, but even show and an addendum, the benefit to the county and savings that we would have, but that MOU would state exactly what you just said, to their caveats and everything.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so we don't want to get into the practice of, well, I didn't know that, or I thought you agreed to that. So these MOUs are very important. So I would suggest that, you know, he works with the county manager as he works through this.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. And we do have a section in our emergency operations plan for the disposition of deceased bodies. So this will become a part of that as well, which is you know, a legal document.
Okay.
In addition, just for definition, and I don't know if everyone got an email that I attached in reference to this, if you had an opportunity to
Yes, sir.
examine that. And in those issues that Mr. Wynn has brought forward, plus a couple of other things too, not that he's forgotten them and he said it, but it just didn't, it may not resolute to all citizens, is we attend as a deputy sheriff to a home or to a location where there's a body, and they've been there, and we cover them up with a sheet. And the funeral home is 2 hours away, or it's gonna take them a while to get there. And in fact, we just feel like we don't want the family to keep coming out there and looking at that sheet and seeing that. We want to be able to move that body. And then secondly, a funeral home coming from somewhere else doesn't know where Joe Henry Lane is in Gates County.
Yeah.
So how long is it gonna take them to get there? The GIS is not gonna hit it, just unable to find it, so they're wandering around. The central location is Mr. Wynn's facility, and everyone should be on tap on exactly go there, and that's where you pick the body up.
I did speak with the sheriff this afternoon. He was, you know, wanting to know what the location was, and I advised him that we were still in talks of where that particular location was going to be, but there did need to be a protocol established, because I need to know if there is a decedent there.
Yeah.
So I don't just stumble upon it at an inopportune time.
And I realize we're kind of leaning on you, but you know, you're inside the compound.
Right.
And that offers some more security.
There is a requirement by the medical examiner's office that it is double locked, and the fence does provide that double lock. So it checks off all the boxes, and it's statutorily compliant. So
And I was thinking this summer, we've had some very hot days,
we have,
and it's not good to leave bodies rain.
it's not.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we need, I
I'm sorry.
don't think we need a motion on this, just a directive to the
A
county.
directive, and that's what I was gonna mention, thank you, sir, is that, with Dr. Riddick's, invitation with, the MOU, again, we'll be asking our county manager if she will, begin to develop an MOU to, work with EMS, the sheriff's office, and our emergency services director on how we're gonna come about with this and what those issues are, identify the issues and identify the place.
Mr. Chair, before Mr. Wynn goes away, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen anything lately. I did get an alert. There's a flash flood watch. The
Yes, sir.
storm,
Hurricane Sally made landfall in the Louisiana, Alabama coast Alabama, Florida coast this morning. And it has had torrential rains associated with that. Forward motion when it made landfall was 3 miles per hour. We're accustomed to a 50-mile-an-hour traveling distance. So torrential rains have accompanied that. It is now a tropical depression. However, all of that rain is expected to come to North Carolina. We're in a swath of rain, potentially 4 to 6 inches between tomorrow midday and Friday evening, with most of the rain being overnight Thursday night into Friday. So 4 to 6 inches of rain is not entirely cumbersome for us. However, 4 to 6 inches of rain is what we were anticipated to have in Hurricane Matthew, and we had 20 inches of rain. That is somewhat cumbersome. So you know, there should be no wind with it when it gets to us. It's a great opportunity for me to say that we are not finished with hurricane season. It looks like a checkerboard out in the Atlantic right now, and they're doing weird things. It is 2020, so they're supposed to be doing weird things, I guess. But we do have at least a month of prime hurricane season, so we can't let our guard down. And with that, I would like to say we have reviewed our emergency operations plan, and we've had preliminary talks with all the department heads, and we've got those plans in action. But never let your guard down during any kind of severe weather, but especially during hurricane season.
And you're going on record saying this is not going to be another Matthew.
I'm not going on record saying it's not going to be another Matthew. I will go on record and say it's not supposed to be. There was a slight increase in forward speed, but it's not supposed to zoom out like a lot of them do. There is a high rotating in the northeast that's kind of keeping that from happening. It's kind of pushing it down.
And before you step down too, Mr. Wynn, we as commissioners, and I certainly would like to express our sorrow for your loss and the loss of the county, for your father, Clarence Wynn.
Thank you so much. And we'll have a card to officially do this, but I appreciate the commissioner sending a plan in recognition.
It's good, man. Great,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you, Billy.
Commissioner comments. Start over there with Commissioner Owens.
Glad everyone could come tonight. That's good. That's it.
Amen.
Yes, it's good, nice to see so many people here. A lot of people who volunteer numerous hours to our county, doing good things such as gyms and a variety of other things. 2020, I think we all will remember, and I kind of wish it would fly on by. But listen, just try to stay safe and be a good neighbor.
Take care, stay safe. Thank you for coming, and don't forget to always ask us how we can assist you. That's why we're here.
Amen.
The collective you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Jones?
Oh, you can say the best for last. Thanks citizens for coming tonight. Thank those of you from gyms for hanging out with us and doing what you do. I think Vanessa said y'all 12,000 pounds is what y'all do. I know that's some heavy lifting for y'all. So thank y'all. I'm wearing supporting Gates County Schools again, like I did last month. When I went home for lunch, I changed shirts. School board has a couple of hard decisions on their hands, and I'm hoping that my kids will be able to be back in school soon. And to piggyback off what the chair said, I know Mr. Wynn is gone, but I know we all pay our respects, and Mr. Clarence was a big service to the county through the Gates Fire Department, through the rescue squad, and through the Northeast Search and Rescue Team. So if going on, stay on public record that we're sorry for the family's loss, and it's a loss for the county and all those groups. So I hope to see everybody next month. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I want to thank everyone for their support, but mainly also I want to thank everyone that's here participating in this government. I want to thank my fellow commissioners for the effort they put forth, and certainly our county manager and our clerk and our county attorney for the decisions they make and for the reasons they give us to make those decisions. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Yes, ma'am.
Now, if I may, I forgot to make this announcement during my report, and when Billy said something that triggered, if you see a Dare County ambulance or one that says EMS in the county for the next few days, the EMS still has one of their vehicles being serviced. The service date got changed, and they're not sure exactly when they're going to receive it. Dare County was gracious enough to allow them to use one of their extra vehicles. So that is why there will be a Dare County vehicle in working all the scenes for the next little bit.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I hadn't seen, if I'd seen it, wasn't able to read.
It's blue and white.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion.
I was just wanting to say, I think we got a letter from Angela Welch also about DOT that grass cutting for the shoulders of the road is tentatively scheduled for Gates for September 21st, which is next week, but it could be delayed because of weather. And but we might get grass cut one more time. So it's getting high in a lot of places.
All right, is there a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 for purposes of A3 legal, 6 personnel.
Second
Yes, sir, there's
motion.
a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign, here none, so be it.
Some of us want to eat tonight.
Oh,
All right,
Mr.
we're
Chair,
back in session.
I'll make a motion that we come out of closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3, legal, 6, personnel.
A second
There's-
motion.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to come out of closed session in pursuant to general statute. All in favor? Oh, is there anything that, all right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign, here none?
Ms.
If I may, I do have one item that is just an email that I need your attention. It is from the Board of Elections, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
It has been sent to all of you, it came in at 8:20. And this is from Claudia. It says, the board and myself would like to thank you for meeting with us today and giving, sorry, I should turn this off.
Start over.
I am.
Yeah.
This is from Claudia Johnson, the Director of Elections. The board and myself would like to thank you for meeting with us today and giving us your support and making sure this election is successful. However, we forgot one more thing. We have been brainstorming and revising plans to follow our guidelines set for voting during a pandemic. Therefore, we are considering moving Precinct 1, Gatesville, to another location that will allow social distancing. Precinct 1 is currently in the Department of Social Services lobby. Precinct 1 serves a large portion of the voters of Gates County, and we want to make sure there are no lines due to limited space. So we are asking for your support and permission to use the auditorium of the Cooperative Extension Building. We understand it is not being fully utilized at the moment due to the pandemic. Our usage of this building will be solely for Election Day on November the 3rd. Again, we appreciate your assistance and support in making this pandemic election a successful one. We're looking forward to hearing your feedback regarding this request. Sincerely, Claudia Johnson.
Can you read how that started out? Like what they said, the reasoning, like how she prefaced it? Brainstorm
They've been
or
brainstorming and revising plans to follow all guidelines set for voting during a pandemic.
okay. I wasn't here for that part of the meeting. So do they mean they met after they left here? Because they're a public board, so that would be an illegal meeting.
I don't know, it says we forgot one more thing.
Unless it was less than a quorum. I mean, it might have been just her and Mr. Sears. We don't know that. for
Yeah, I
certain.
didn't know if I missed anything or, but going back to transparency.
Point well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we don't know whether it was a full board or whether it was just the two of them.
Right, and this, and also, I mean, Mr. Sears, Ms. Cross, Mr. York, Ms. Hill, and Ms. Sims' name's also on here. So it could have been they did discuss it, just forgot to bring it up, I don't know, but,
Because I asked them to introduce the board,
right.
because I didn't know that two of the ladies.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we don't know the root, the whole
Yeah.
root of the scenario.
And we need to make sure the procedure is correct. We need to make sure it follows all the rules of order.
Okay, the county extension building, our auditorium's not very large.
Correct.
DSS building lobby is bigger.
The corner, the area, you go in, you turn right, and it's just that area where those black chairs are.
Where we've been meeting, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now,
Auditorium is bigger.
I was gonna say, I'm not
But-
sure because I've
Yeah, but now
Never
it's not
stopped.
significantly bigger. I mean, it might be, it's not significantly bigger.
and it's a 1-day voting.
The
Correct.
This jury box right here would cover the increase.
well, I
Yeah.
think,
I was thinking about parking too.
well, the parking I don't know if it's a little bit better at DSS. But DSS, they do still have some people who are coming in
Okay.
as they make
Clients.
appointments and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, at the extension office, there's no one utilizing that building right now.
Right now.
Correct.
Okay. That makes
They're still working outside of the office. They'll go in there, they'll be in there for an hour or two but they're all not there.
I wonder,
Yeah.
did they take into consideration the people who say, I'm not coming in the building? I want you to come out and let me vote at my car. How's that gonna?
I think that we're not gonna solve what they thought in their minds tonight. We need to get back in touch with them and ask them some questions.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
And if that's going to take an official vote, then it's not going to be able to, it's not going to be able to happen for this election. Well, we're in September. I'm sure there's requirements for them to announce the polling locations and stuff. So I think,
Did they
A
announce them
polling
tonight?
change. If they
No.
make a polling change, I don't know the rules, but
right.
They have to.
They have
there's
to.
got to be, it might be a 30-day period for something like that.
And if they were here, they could answer it, but
Well, what it is, yeah, we need to find out a procedure. I'm thinking that we ask direct our county manager to find out if that building is available, if that room is available. And then where we go from there.
That would
So-
be, I know county manager's gonna act on it, but that would be because of, we don't know what the time constraints are for the advertising, would be like an immediate thing. We need to do that like 8:30 in the morning. I would
Now,
make
for
contact.
next week, that could be added to next Thursday's agenda, couldn't it?
it also needs to be added to the cooperative extension directors. See if it's okay, I think.
Do they
What-
store things in that?
Look, what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. We are not gonna sit here tonight and try to figure out what they think, what's an extension building, what. We need to, Mr. Chairman, get the county manager to respond to that email with questions they need to answer immediately. One, is this appropriate? Is it meets the statute or whatever they're supposed to be doing? And have you considered all the things we've been talking about? And let them answer that and give them a time frame. Don't say as soon as possible. Say Friday by 4, I don't care.
Yeah,
But no,
Friday by
don't-
4.
Don't say as soon as possible, because that'd be maybe next year after the next election. So give them a time frame to respond to that and make sure that they understand we're trying to be cooperative and we just need to make sure that we're in compliance and that's the best location for.
And if there's extra costs involved because of moving the polling location.
So you know, just fashion something and Mr. Chairman, you can review it, make sure we get all our answers.
Yeah,
And
for
if it,
people who are handicapped, it's going to be more difficult.
well, that can be in there, but then my suggestion is, once we get those answers, then maybe we could, if everything's on the up and up, maybe we could tie that into our September 24th meeting.
Can that be added to the agenda for our meeting next Thursday night at 6:30
Mhm,
for the public hearing? All that meeting is a public hearing about the grant, right?
mhm.
All right. So we don't need that in a form of a motion, do we, Mr. Chair? Just a directive. All right.
Just direct that and that be added to the agenda.
All right. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion, sir, if I may.
Yes, sir.
The next item on the agenda, item number 11, is old business for Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure.
Yes, sir.
Based upon the recommendation of my fellow board members, I would like to table this item. I'd like to make a motion that we table this item until our regularly scheduled October meeting, sir. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
All right,
I'll
there is
second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to table the old business that was on the agenda is item number 11.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye. Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, so be it.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make one more motion, sir. Item number 12 on the agenda is adjournment. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn, sir.
Very well.
Second.
Is it in a second? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
So be it.